Tidebreak's ClassSpot software is designed to help faculty actively engage students during class. Let's take a look at 3 examples of how faculty can use ClassSpot's advanced collaboration capabilities to enhance their classes. Our first stop is Professor Arnold's class, who's using a PowerPoint presentation to cover some new material. His classroom has a large projection screen connected to an installed PC running ClassSpot. Professor Arnold and his students have laptops that they connect to ClassSpot using the wireless network. He starts the ClassSpot session and then sends his presentation slides to the main screen. As he begins his presentation, he moves his cursor from his own laptop to the main screen. Using his laptop's mouse and keyboard, he advances his slides while he speaks. During his presentation, some of his students use their laptops to search the web for information relevant to the topic. Some search for supporting information, while others look for alternative ideas. Kyle raises his hand. He sends an interesting website to the main screen so that the rest of the class can see it. Jennifer wants to highlight a portion of the website that Kyle just shared. She moves her cursor onto the main screen and explores the website directly in full view of the class as she proposes an alternate conclusion. Several other students have also found related information. They take turns sharing their discoveries and summarizing them for the class. Then the entire class takes some time to discuss the more interesting alternatives. Only 10 minutes remain, so Professor Arnold decides to finish presenting the rest of his material. He presses a button to lock the main screen so students can no longer send information to it. He can still access the screen though, and he mouses up and continues his presentation. At the end of class, Professor Arnold sends his slides, as well as the students' contributions, to the ClassSpot archive. The archive is posted automatically to the course page on the campus's learning management system. Some students also download the archives directly to their laptop so they can take the day's results with them to review later. Across the hall, Professor Baker's students are taking turns presenting project reports to the entire class. The professor begins by reviewing the original assignments on the main screen and recapping some points from student presentations made during the previous class. As she speaks, Dr. Baker stands at the side of the classroom to be closer to the students. She's able to move around the classroom instead of standing at the podium while still managing the ClassSpot session from her laptop. She calls on Alex to go first. He sends his PowerPoint slides to the main screen, then presents to the class without leaving his seat. He moves his cursor up to the main screen to advance his slides. As Alex talks, other students in the class are able to submit comments and questions to the session archive, where he will be able to review them later. At the end of his presentation, Professor Baker compliments his work. Alex sends his slides directly to the professor's laptop so she can grade his work later. Professor Baker calls on Becky next. Unlike Alex, Becky doesn't present slides. Instead, she uses ClassSpot to send a spreadsheet-based simulation from her laptop to the main screen. She, too, starts presenting her work without leaving her seat. As she discusses the assumptions in her model, her classmates follow along. Another student, Gary, has a question about one of her results. He raises his hand to interrupt her, then he moves his cursor onto the main screen, starts the annotation mode, and circles the numbers in question. Becky elaborates on the entries, then moves ahead with the rest of her presentation. Another good job! Becky sends the spreadsheet file to the professor's computer. Professor Baker saves the ClassSpot archive to her laptop, as it contains the sequence of presentations as well as a record of the comments and questions that other students submitted during the class. She uses this to assist her in grading the assignment. The students who presented also save a copy of the archive, so they can review their classmates' comments on their presentations. Meanwhile, in Professor Clayton's classroom, his engineering students are interactively designing a device using a circuit simulator. His classroom has 2 large screens on the teaching wall, each one driven by a separate computer. This configuration supports more advanced interactions. Professor Clayton reminds the class that they'll be working on the design assignment together using actual component specifications to simulate a circuit design. He mouses onto the right-hand screen to open the simulation program. Next, he sends to all the students a package of data sheets for various components. He explains that when they find an appropriate component, they should send its data sheet to the left screen, and then insert the component module into the simulation model on the right screen. The students get to work, looking through the given materials to find suitable components. One student, Dana, finds a candidate component for the circuit. She sends the datasheet for the component to the left-hand screen. She then moves her cursor sideways to the right-hand screen and installs the component virtually into the circuit simulator. Everyone can see the new component and its effect on the simulated output. Another student, Eric, realizes that adjusting the parameters will tune the circuit. He moves his cursor onto the right-hand screen and makes the changes. The class works for another 45 minutes. After all the components have been installed, the professor calls for a test of the virtual device. He moves his cursor up to the right-hand screen and activates the circuit defined in the simulator. As the output plot builds over time, the class can see that their design works. Professor Clayton sends the simulator files, along with the datasheets, to the ClassSpot archive and encourages all the students to save a copy. Their homework assignment? Explore the impact of tuning various component parameters. These are just a few of the ways that faculty can use ClassSpot to encourage active student participation in their courses. Its deep set of interaction features work with any standard software application and across different student-owned devices. With ClassSpot, faculty are reimagining what student-centered learning can become.